And now we're
We're
live.
live. Yay.
See that
We
one?
were troubleshooting. Hi, y'all. This is Quoy and Lanee right by my side. We made it. Ep.2, y'all. Q&L Spotlight.
Cute.
So,
Yo.
so we decided to have the second episode about our creative endeavors. We're both creative people, highly creatives. And we've chose to use our creativity, our creative skills, and started a business. So we're just going to let it flow, like how creativity does. Me and my words are stumbling, but yeah, like I don't know. Let's just kind of talk about it. I don't know.
So, do you want to start off by telling your story, or would you like me to start telling my story? Because I am so tickled right now. Like, I just want to laugh the whole time.
Oh, really?
I'm so, because I was so tickled by you earlier. I'm just cracking up on the inside.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just cracking up.
Well, yeah. I'm gonna ask you first. So, like, what made you want to start a business?
That's a good question. Well, the reason why I wanted to start a business was because I slowly discovered that I totally abhor working for other people and I am not employee material. So I just decided that, you know what, the best route for me to go would be to just, see, because I feel like I'm one of those people that have different skill sets for various things, but it takes all those skills and just putting them together that makes up my business. So every job that I had, I learned something from. So I honestly can say I did not walk away from the job without learning something. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just always wanted to be my own person. I mean, my family, women in my family have been entrepreneurs for generations, and I just thought, you know what, me too. And then I did astrology, test for my natal chart. And
Yeah.
Vedic astrology, it was like, oh yeah, so I lean more towards being a business-minded individual.
So wait, I remember you telling me a little bit about your story, but I didn't know. So your family is entrepreneurs as well?
Yeah, my mom had her own business, and my grandmother had her own business.
Oh, see, so that's cool. See, like my story's a little bit similar, but like not really because my family has not. It's like we're a bunch of creative people, but never really popped off. I'm kind of like I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of laying the path now for them. The only
You are.
person that I do know that had an entrepreneur business was my dad's dad, but I'm not quite sure if it was like one of those type of businesses where you kind of report to somebody, but it's still like your own thing, or if he really just made it from the ground
Yeah.
up. I
Yeah,
don't
I know
know that.
like the MLM
Yeah,
type of thing.
because
Yeah.
like back then too, like, all right, like, I don't know, this was like the 50s. I would say like 50s, 60s. I don't really know if he started his own business from ground up or if it really was like, you know. So I don't know. I just kind of feel like I'm actually the one that is laying the path. Because honestly, I'm gonna be honest too. My brother, he wanted to be an entrepreneur with something with music,
Mhm.
but he's having a hard time with family because he has two babies, and it's like hard managing that. And that's part of my family lineage. Like they just went through that stuff. But I always felt like I wanted my own business too, honestly. Like what you just shared, like I didn't really want to work for anybody, but I chose to work for someone because I was like, at least I can gain some business etiquette or knowledge about how to run a business if I work for people, especially when I got out of college. Because my parents were like, go to college. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I really kind of didn't want to go to college until I met graphic design. That was like my love. And then I'm like, okay. But in hindsight, they try to put me in a box, and I don't like that.
Yeah. We had this conversation before about trying to box us out. But
Yeah,
yeah, same thing. High school, go to college. I feel like college is for people that know what they want to do. That's to me, that's what college should be used for. Not
yeah.
to just waste time and money figuring out, but that's what I did. I wasted time and money figuring out. And I didn't figure out, my purpose till like 2 months ago. It's just, college is just for certain people. College is not for everybody.
I don't think it's for everybody. I actually was about to be a college dropout. I didn't like I didn't like college, and it reminded me of I used the term college dropout because of Kanye. Remember that that
Yeah, I
album
remember.
he had, and I was like, I think at the time that's when his album did come out, and I'm like, what am I doing? But I actually have been in between both types of businesses that I felt like could flourish on my own. Because, like you're saying too, about people, like college isn't for everybody. And when you do know what you want, it's kind of like, well, do I actually need a degree in this? Because, like with art, to me, if I had the drive that I have now, like years ago when I started going through college, I probably would have definitely been like, no. But I really wasn't confident in myself or my creative endeavors. And it was like I kind of needed to go through that, but at the same time, not really, if that makes sense.
You kind of had to go through your college path. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying because, like, or just school, maybe. Because, like, me, I'm the type of person, like, if I don't have passion in it, it's like, okay. And, like, I could do something that I could possibly be good at too. But if I'm not passionate about it, it doesn't spark me enough to, like, continue stuff, you know?
Right.
So,
And 'cause I think you told me this too, because you're one of those people who likes to jump. When you get tired of something and you feel like it's nothing, is anything else you can get from it, then you're like, okay, what's next? Or like, how you want to try different things to see
yeah.
if that may be more suitable to your needs.
Mhm.
So I just want to dibble and dabble in different things. So that's how I was too, bro. But I was distracted in school too. Like, 'cause to me, I felt like, dang, I just graduated high school. You mean I gotta spend another 4 years
Oh my god, yes. Yes.
sitting behind a desk listening to somebody talk about something I am not interested in? Like,
Yep.
really? Is this all like? And then after that, you're supposed to go get a job and basically have a boss, mooch, mooch, whatever, get paid, go up the ladder. And it's just like, I felt like a slave. Like, that's why I don't like, there are so many things about having a regular 9 to 5 job I just don't like. It's the having to be on somebody else's time, being capped off at how much you can make,
Yep.
not
Talk
really being able
about
to express your
it.
creativity, having to prove yourself to other people who really don't even care about you.
Oh my gosh.
It's just so much stuff that goes into, like, what, not to say that having a job is a bad thing. Like, by all means, people need jobs because someone has to do it, right?
Yeah.
It's just not going to be me. That's all I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's just, and I'm lucky that I had an opportunity to not have to work for somebody else, even though I've done it. And I don't mind, because if I feel like I can get a job where I can learn, has been the biggest struggle for me, because a lot of these jobs are just like average. The ones that I get, just so average. They're not
Mhm.
challenging or anything. They're just labor, labor, labor. Um, Even with a degree, labor, labor, labor. It's just, it's
Nobody, yeah, like it
you
seemed
know,
like nobody cared in the type of workforce. And it just seemed like everybody else had like this lack of passion. And like, yo, you were making so many points because like I honestly never liked school. Like as long as I can remember, I never liked school. And then like after high school, it's like, do I have to go to college right now? Like, can I just get a breather and like get to know me and what I really truly want?
Right.
like, I feel like I might have said something like that, and people are looking like, no, you don't have time like that. Like, and people kept saying the real world, and I'm like, yo, I thought I was in the real world. Like, I don't understand what you're talking about. Like,
I mean, yeah, going to school is a great representation of the real world. What are you gonna do? Sit there and take instructions from somebody else till they say you can leave.
exactly.
Basically.
It just it just didn't feel it just felt like it was just dimming my light, honestly, when I look back at things. And maybe I knew that, but I just didn't really know how to express that. And it just, you know what I'm saying? It just
Yes, yes, yes.
I don't
But
know. It was something else that you said that I wanted to touch. Oh, I know, like you were saying, everybody is not built to be an entrepreneur, right?
right,
I mean, entrepreneurs also need workers once they build their business too.
right.
And I'm starting to realize as well, like literally in this present moment, about leadership. And people have called me, oh, you're a leader. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, but I started realizing I think I had this image of what a leader's supposed to be like,
Mhm.
and I think I was just saying this the other day in my mind and like journaling about this. Like, you can be a leader within your family, within your friend unit. Like, I think I had in my mind a leader is supposed to be like this big person that, like, I don't know, like, gets the crowd going. And like, I don't know, I think of leadership like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X. What was another lady that's on the tip of my tongue? She was a writer, but she also, I don't know, I think of like revolutionary people as leaders. Um, and then I really had to sit there and think, like, what is wrong with you? Like, you don't have to be that big to be a leader. Like,
Right. You don't.
you really don't. And oh, Maya Angelou, I don't know. She was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
But like, there's so many leaders. There's so many game changers. There's so many trailblazers. And I get aspired sometimes. I aspire things really big and really high, but I forget the path that has to go to meet those marks. And not to diminish my dreams, and because I have been told, like, you dream too big. And I'm like,
Mm.
like, what's wrong with dreaming too big? But at the
Nothing.
same time, it's
You
like,
have
all
no
right, calm down,
imagination.
Quoy. It'll happen. I know you made that face like, mm-mm.
Like,
That's
girl, I
happened to
can't
you.
stand when people say stuff like that to people who are, they're uniquely themselves. And when people say, "Oh, you dream too big," like, visionaries come up with all kinds of concepts that make the world a better place. So you should never tell somebody they dream too big, because that reminds me of when people say, "Oh, certain you you because I don't want to go into like race right now, but it's like, oh, you're a bit uppity, or when they try to like tell you to tone down your intelligence by saying, oh, you use too many big words. Oh, well, maybe you need to catch up then. Like,
You
why are
need
you
a
trying to fool
dictionary?
me?
Like,
You know, why are you trying to pull me down to your level? Like, maybe you need to come on up, you know? But it's just like, and this is what someone told somebody at a job that I was working at. They said, oh, you use too many big words. And it's just like, I didn't think it was a big word. I mean, it was a regular professional word. It's not a word you would use in conversations all the time, but when you're doing business, it's like, yeah, I mean, but it's just that people try to, like I said, box you in and
They
limit
do.
you, try to constrain you and put you into like this thing so they can better understand you, but you can't do
I've
that.
had people say that I ask too many questions in jobs, and I'm like,
You what? You do what
I ask too many questions. Like, how am I supposed to do the job efficiently? Like, I can't ask questions. Like, I'm
now?
so
Sorry.
confused. You know, and then one
Like,
time I actually was reacting the same way I just reacted, and it's like, do you have an attitude? Like, do you really want to see me have an attitude?
oh my gosh. People really said that to you? You asked too many questions.
And
I
I'll
mean,
never forget, because one time it was like I was working with an editor. Like, you know how you have to work with certain people in certain jobs to get complete the task. And it's
right.
like, sir, do you want me to mess it up for both of us? Or do you want me to
Yeah.
meet the deadline and do this work efficiently? Because, like, I don't know what type of stuff people was on at the job
Girl,
sometimes.
it
I'm like,
could
are
be,
y'all like here or like
but
what?
it could be your energy too. You know?
Yeah.
Because we, as light workers, we attract certain things. Even when we're going through like our darkest moments or phases, we
Yes.
attract things that test us. And when people come up to you and say things like that, it's just like they try to dim your light without even knowing. You know, because a
Yes.
lot of them, I
Absolutely.
just look at them people like puppets. Like, are you for real? And the thing about asking questions, I personally feel like they're okay. Let me just ask you this, because I had a situation. I had like a mental conversation with myself a few days ago about this. But do you think there is a such thing as a dumb question?
It's like I don't think so. But then see, I was told that I remember one person told me one time, like, you ask questions that you already know. And I'm like, because I had to ask him, I said, why do people get so upset in this job that I'm asking a question? Like, I just don't understand this. And I found myself like asking before asking a question, like, can I ask you a question? You know? So I don't know. Like, in a way, that's a confusing question sometimes because sometimes I guess, but in a way, not really because, like they say, no question is a dumb question because you probably don't know.
Right, right.
But I have asked questions that I knew. Oh,
Or you just getting confirmation?
yeah. And then, like, I remember in class, like, when I go back to like elementary school, I remember being the one in class where like the teacher would ask a question and nobody wanted to answer. So for some
Right,
reason, I would just like do it. But for some reason, also, I think wow, I'm just kind of figuring this out. I was dimming my own light to not shine on people. So it
right, right.
was like I kind of wanted to seem like I didn't know, but in all actuality, I did know. So literally, like we were just talking about light workers and people
Right,
dimming their light. Here I am, a lot of times dimming my own light because of the people that I was around.
right. Because it's like you want to be surrounded by people who are intelligent, who are more intelligent than you. Like, if
Mhm.
you're learning and you're wanting to learn something, you don't go around people that don't know nothing. You go around people that know what it is that you want to
Absolutely.
learn from. And
Mhm.
for me in school, because I'll give you an example. Like, for me in school, I didn't want to learn anything. So I didn't ask no questions.
What? You didn't want to learn anything?
I was over school. Like, I was so over school. I was over people at school. I was over teachers, kids. Not all like together. Like, oh, forget humanity. I'm tired of it. But more like, just the whole idea of it was tiring. It was like
I
getting
know what you
up
mean.
every day, doing the same thing all the time, over and over again. Like, those are the type of thoughts I had. Like, I was thinking really deeply about it. And it was just school lasts too long. It's too many years of
Oh
school.
my God, yes.
You spend most of your childhood in school.
I know. And it's like, can we play like a little bit? And like, I've always loved the teachers that allowed like learning to be fun because I felt like I learned more. And I only had a few teachers that did that. Most teachers did not do that. And like you said too, like it just was like a pattern, a routine that I didn't want to do. And it's like, wake up, brush teeth, do this, get ready. And it's like you have to tell me when I have to eat. You have to tell me when, like,
That's
why?
fine.
Like, I have to raise my hand to go to the bathroom. Like, and some teachers, I remember that bathroom thing. Some kids would be like, "You can't tell me if I can't have to wait and hold my pee." Like, I
Right.
remember some kids would.
I don't know. I just like
It's
this.
crazy.
This is what I want to do when I focus on building an open society. Because I remember seeing like in those movies that people would have classrooms outside, and kids would probably study like in small doses at a time, and then they would go out and they would explore like their environment because you
Yeah.
can learn that way too. But yeah, so all that really is just to say, like, I just think this the education system here in the States is just like, I call it the public food system because it really did produce some food. It really did. And I'm just, I mean, like I said, college is for people that want to go to college. I would have preferred to have enrolled myself into a program right after I graduated, like maybe somewhere where I could study abroad and learn a different culture, because right
Yeah.
here it's so condensed. And I was actually doing my astrology chart, right? Astrocartography is what they call it when you use astrology to figure out what aspects of astrology will will show up in certain locations around the planet for your chart.
Hmm. That's
And
interesting.
yeah, so when I was doing that, I was like, well, shoot, I would be better off across seas according to this chart. Like, I probably would have just been different, like in a different type of
Absolutely.
situation. And
Mm-hmm.
and then when I did my Vedic astrology, I was studying that this morning, and it said the same thing. And I'm just like, but I have a strong Saturn placement, which means there'll be lots of work, discipline, managing time, and so everything takes time, which is
It does.
fine.
It
But
does.
I just would have preferred to have had that opportunity to travel more to see what else is out there. Because if you're just like, because think about it, you grow up in your town, it's your town. You grow up in your house, it's your house. You go to that school, that's just that school. You're not being exposed to a whole bunch of things.
No.
Not
Met
at
so
all.
many people like that. Mm-mm.
Right. So you're just, it's just very, I felt very limited, but I didn't even realize how caged up I was until, afterwards.
Oh my gosh. Like, you can say that again. Cause, like, my mom has always, like, we grew up in a small town. And it's literally like 1 square mile. I'm not even joking. And like
Work?
she always, yes, and we always like went other places, and like we had family in New York. Like, we tried to travel with the money that we had, you know. I loved it. And it did expose you to other different types of people. And
Hmm.
like I remember like after high school, whether I was in college or back at home, like people are like back at home were like, "Oh, you act different." Like, I don't remember seeing you around. Because one, my mom was always having us do stuff. And two, like, why aren't you getting out? Like, I literally met people, especially in my hometown, that really like, as we would say, just getting off the stoop. Like, you really haven't traveled outside this little ass area. Like, are you kidding me? And then,
Yeah.
like, people were talking about culture shock in college, and I'm like, not really, because, like, I don't know. Like, like, it was just so, I don't know. But when I did meet new people that actually have traveled, like, outside of the US, I was like, oh, wow, okay, because I didn't get to. The only place that I really went, I guess that was considered outside of the US was Bermuda, but that's because I have family from there. But it was kind of like I need to explore more. And oh my God, COVID was so like kind of like
COVID.
because of the fact that it's like back in this box again. Like, I can't travel. I had plans, y'all. You know, so traveling, I feel like, is like the best way to learn. Honestly,
It
I do
is.
think it is.
It really is. Like when I was traveling back from New York, I kid you not, I took every mode of transportation known to man to get back to my home. Okay, I got a ride from my friend to the train station. Went to the train station. Uh, got on the bus from the train station. Then took the I think what did I do? Took the shuttle to the airport from the bus or whatever, something like that. But then I got on the
Oh,
plane, girl,
yeah.
and then I was home, and it was just like, and I don't even know how I timed that because to me, I yeah, I just took a taxi. When I arrived there, I took a taxi all the way to there, but now I had to come up with all these modes. Like really, I did a car, everything on wheels, car, train, plane, bus. Okay,
Yeah.
just get back to the airport, and I learned so much in just that one little bitty trip. So much. So now I know that I'm a good traveler. Like I can travel. Like I can't wait to start going across seas because I feel like I'm ready for it. 'Cause I can do some stuff. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So do you plan to like have travel a part of your business, like in some
I
way,
mean,
shape, or form?
I would like to do international business. I did
Mm.
when I changed my Did I change my degree to international business? I don't think I did, but I think I was plotting on it. But I definitely would love to do stuff overseas. So.
I would like to, or I would like to, like when I ask you that, kind of like I see some of my things that I do in my business, possibly either like some type of services that I would like. I don't know. There's some type of way that I would like to interact with other people around the world. Like I've always like at young, I think I wanted to kind of do that. And
Mhm.
I don't know if I can incorporate it in my business or maybe that's just like my vacation, like me mingling with other people from different places. Cause like even
Right.
if it's not people, but I know I'm gonna meet people, it's like just seeing and being in the atmosphere of some other place, like some other energy. Like, like you can feel the difference between different cultures
Mhm.
and towns and lands. Like, and I don't know. It might be a creative thing sometimes where we need like more inspiration. I don't know.
Mhm. Mhm. I mean, I think so too, because I feel like just like what I was telling you about the astrocartography, it will bring up different energies in that
Mhm.
place.
Mhm.
And if you're exposed to them, who knows what happened? Like I want to go to Dubai. I want to go to
Me
Morocco.
too.
I want to go to Ghana. I want to go like and you
Yeah.
never know who you'll meet there.
Exactly.
It just
Exactly.
depends on whatever path you take and where it leads you. It's really all about, for me personally, it's really all about following your intuition. So that was, and I feel like you cannot. I feel like work crushes that. Like
I think so.
it
Oh my God, I think so
the
too.
ability to follow your intuition to an extreme point of where you could make significant life changes. Because I remember, debating on whether or not I was going to quit this job. Girl, it took me like 2 to 3 months to quit this job that I loathe. And I was just like, okay, now's not the right time. I don't have enough money saved. But that was really like no real plan. Like, what was I going to do afterwards? I was looking for another job, still didn't have one. And it was just like, okay, so I don't know, like, cause I wanted other things from that job, but when after a year of looking for stuff to work out for me, it was just like at the end of the day, I just have to go a different way, and that's all it was. Cause you can almost feel it pulling at you, like you can feel it pulling at your soul, at your heart, that you are not supposed to be here. And I've had people tell me that at a job before. They're like, "Why are you working here? You need to be
Mhm.
in school, or you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. You're so intelligent. Why are you doing it? Why?" And I was just thinking like, I don't know what to do. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
that type of. It was always that type of pattern, over and over and over again. So I would go find a job, hit the same thing. I'm like, well, what do y'all want from the universe? What do you want me to do? Like, really, what do you want me to do? Give me a sign. Somebody drop a body in front of me. Like, I don't know what is that you guys want me to do. What am
When
I
you asked for that sign though, do you remember getting it or do you not remember like
I don't know if I got it or not.
or because
I
sometimes
did.
when we ask for signs, I think you do get it or you get like bombarded by a whole bunch and then you're like frazzled or something, it I don't
I,
know.
I knew I wanted to go into business for myself, but what? Like what would I be good at? How could I,
Yeah, yeah,
running a
thank you.
business? I don't know anything about running a business. So it's just like me just figuring out how to do stuff. I'm still figuring out how to do stuff. And it's not always that I'm getting like the help or support that I'm looking for when I'm looking for it, but it's definitely a way for me to keep just going forward. And that's really all you can do at this point. Just go for it. Because COVID can't, girl, let me tell you, like
We can't stop you.
last year, I actually had a plan. I said, you know what? Screw this job. I am going to go work at these festivals, work at because I'm a part of this thing called the Raw Artists. It's like an art guild or something like that, where you can
Okay.
go and work at different cities selling your artwork. And I was like, you know
Yeah.
what, I could do that because we have one right here in my town. We have like an art design district here where people can set up shop and just sell their stuff. All I needed was a business license, got it, permits, working on it, and that would have been good. But
Hmm.
nope. And I actually had a gig booked. I had a gig booked right before COVID hit. I was like, I am good. I am going to do this. And I'm just gonna do this for a year and see where it takes me.
Yeah.
But then COVID came along and it was like, nope.
Like to everybody, right? It just literally was like,
Like,
nope.
I kept it, girl. You know how I feel? Like I actually had a real plan this time. Like that was the first time that I actually took the time to really mark myself and just really just figure out, okay, here's what I'm gonna do to make money off of doing what I love. Art shows. Bam. Art shows. Because the last time I did, I made like what, $500 in like 4 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just like that's it. I can only work the weekend. I'll be good. You know what I mean? I can work the weekend. In my head, I was just like, yes, this is perfect. Until I, save some money from the side, go travel a bit. You know what? Bam. I feel good. COVID. Nope.
Like I actually knew how that felt before actually. Like for me,
Mhm.
like I can't sit here and say that like COVID didn't make me feel like it a rug got pulled up under me. It did. But it reminded me so much of what happened to me before. And like what you were saying kind of about leaving a job. When I left my job, like I made a plan because like I think fear might have blocked a lot of things. And I remember I'm like, I'm done. Like I'm so done with these people. Like forget this. I'm doing something else. And I started looking for jobs. And actually in that time, I actually was creating my own business while I was working at the job. And I thought I had my ish together. Like I was like, I finally know that I think I might have told you this. I like sneakers, like it makes me feel good, like drawing
Mhm.
them and all this stuff. And I was like getting so much ideas. So I'm like, yeah, I got it. Like I started t-shirts, people were responding to it and like buying some. I was like, oh, okay. Went to some vending stuff. I'm like, I think I could do this. Girl, when I say I was like, all right, F this job, like I think I can do this and then actually like make some money freelancing. I found some company that was like a art what was that called? Like it's on the tip of my tongue. Agency, an art agency that helps you get other jobs. And you can kind of like, temporary jobs or kind of have your own type of schedule. I'm like, this
Mhm.
is perfect. Like the universe is working with me.
Right.
Girl, I quit my job. And as soon as I quit my job, I called them to see like why am I not receiving any like jobs? Like I signed up, what's going on? Like everything seems secure. And then they're like, well, you actually kind of have to make your mark. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, you have to like just sign up for more jobs. Like it's kind of like the more jobs you get, the more opportunities you'll get. And I'm like, what? And then like it just felt like and I don't know. I think it just made like it was not stable, and I needed some type of stable income so I can progress with the other little sneaker business. No, it didn't work that way at all, and I was like the rug got pulled from underneath me, and I bumped my head, and then I probably started bleeding, and I'm like, I'm in fear. I don't know what to do. I met like a lot of people that so called wanted to collab, but unfortunately, the way that was set up, see, and this is probably because of fear and how the law of attraction works. Like these
Mhm.
people were like, they didn't really know what they were doing, but I knew what I was doing. But they like manipulated me in a way where it's like, no, you don't. You don't know what I'm doing, and like this isn't your business. You're working for me. And I'm like, I thought we were collaborating. Like,
They
so
said,
one person did say that. Other people didn't literally say that, but that was the vibe.
hmm. So you were doing like an MLM
I guess so.
or like yeah, listen.
It's just crazy, and I went through like some years of like just struggling, but it was struggling because I really wasn't claiming my worth like as a freelancer, like on my own stuff. As I was doing graphic design freelance, I could have made my prices higher, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I think I was so much in like I know what I don't want, but I don't know what I truly want or need, you know?
right. It's like
And
focusing on the negative, like what you don't.
yeah, yeah, it was a while of just that looping cycle, and it was just like, what? It just wasn't. It was not good. But I'm so thankful I got off that carousel.
Yeah, I
It
know
took
how
a
that
long
is.
time,
I
but
spent
I got
some
off.
years. Yeah, I spent some years being lost to the world, getting these really odd, strange jobs that didn't really pay. They were like commission, like those commission jobs. So
Hmm.
it was just like, this ain't for me. I'm out. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I know how that feels. And you bounce around for a while, picking
I
up
was
what you.
bouncing. I definitely was bouncing because I was like stuck in between. Like, do I want to go full throttle with my business or do I work for somebody? But then it's like the business, I wasn't quite sure how to make that money to like rebuild and get income. It just was so much confusion. And
Mhm.
even with me trying to get like a job working for somebody, people were like, oh, well, you're too overly qualified. Or some people were like, oh, well, I don't see experience in this. But I'm like, I can do this. Like, here's my portfolio. I can do this. Look. It just was a mess. But I learned so much that I have never learned at all in any type of school ever. It was like I don't think a business school could have taught me the stuff that I was learning throughout that like phase. I really don't think so.
Yeah, that oh, you're overqualified is some BS. Okay. Oh, and they know you straight out of college, but then if you don't have a degree, they'll be like, we're going with better candidates, ones
Hmm.
with degrees. And then you
Yeah.
got a degree, they're like, eh. But do you know how to, I'm just like, because to me, it never occurred. Like, okay, so you still, even with a degree, you still have to start off entry level, don't you? It's like you got a
No.
degree for like managerial jobs, right?
It's not like I was trying to sign up for a position that was like executive. I wasn't doing that. It was entry
Right,
level jobs. I'm sitting here like,
right,
huh?
right. And you can get that job. You can get certain jobs entry level without a degree now. Like they got, like I
Yeah.
was telling you, they have boot camps where they actually teach you how to do the actual job that you're going to go
I
out and
remember
apply
you
for.
said that. I love the sound of that.
And they do job placements. That's how education needs to work. Like, cause you
No,
spend
for
4 years. I
real.
heard this man told me you spend 4 years learning this stuff, and by the time you get out, it's gonna be old.
Oh my gosh, yes.
What's the point? Like, what is the point? I feel like college is for certain professions. Like, if you want to be a doctor, a
Mhm.
lawyer, or it's just certain stuff you can do for college. But programs
Exactly.
specifically, like, and then like even if you want to get in technology, you don't have to go to school for technology now. Like you could just get into a boot camp and be like, hey, you study this
Mm-hmm.
program for 6 months or 12 months, we'll find you a job placement, and then once you start your job, you can just pay us back, and then bam, and then these people coming out
Exactly.
making $60,000, $70,000 a year, and their program only costs like 10,000, and then they're free. They're like, no,
Mm-hmm.
no debt. Like it's just like
Yeah,
where
for
is
real.
where was this when I was in school?
I don't know. And it has changed so much within the past few years too. Like, because I remember when I graduated, like they did some stuff for seniors, and they're like, they kept saying it was so crazy. It's like, why are you guys trying to scare us? Because they kept throwing that word around. Oh, what was that? Not pandemic. Something with the economy and people were losing jobs at that time, like a lot, and there was like a
Recession,
lot of layoffs. I forget. It was like some term they kept using, and they're like,
like the recession.
yes, yes. They're like, we're in the recession. I, like these words. I don't know my words today, but they kept saying that. They're like, yeah, you guys, you're in the thick of the recession. So, and I'm like, why y'all keep telling us this? Like, are you gonna help us? Like, really?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Like,
Y'all good. Move back in with your parents.
yeah. And I
For
swear, when people said that, I was
millennials,
like, no, please don't. I don't want to move back with my parents.
yeah, for millennials, it's been really hard. Like for millennials, like we
Mhm.
just
But I did, I sucked it up and I did and whatever. You gotta do
yeah.
what you gotta do. I don't blame nobody. Because honestly, that is kind of a smart move to do, honestly.
What?
To like if you're able to move back with your parents,
Oh
hey,
yeah,
smart move. Don't like I don't know,
you can
it's
save
nothing
money.
wrong with that.
Yeah, all that. That's good. I mean, if you can do that, then
Yeah, if you can.
yeah.
Because I was kind of hard headed at times. I feel like I made things a little bit worse than it should have been because, like, there was
Mhm.
a point in my journey where I was just like, I'm not moving back there. I can't stand it there. Like, I will live with a friend before that. Like,
Yeah.
it was, I don't know.
Like
I'm very
me,
hard headed.
I just want to set myself up so that when I get ready to move, it's going to be because I really want to move there.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
know, it's just I have no idea. Like it's just really weird how everything is set up now. Cause it's like, cause I was watching this. I think it was a documentary, maybe it was a news report talking about how we have a K economy. So I don't know
What's
what
the
a K economy
economy?
is supposed to be, but I guess it's something like, oh, the rich is getting richer and the poor, or the poor people are getting poorer, and middle class is shrinking. And I remember Bernie Sanders was talking about this some years ago. Our middle class is shrinking, and
You know who
it's
else said that? I don't mean to cut you off, but you know the
yeah,
movie New Jack City?
yes.
Yeah, they said the same exact thing though.
What happened?
They said the same exact thing. I feel like it was Wesley Snipes when he was outside and he was talking like the rich are getting richer, or maybe not, and the poor are getting poorer. But it's been happening so like the gap has gotten so big, like you were saying, and Bernie Sanders is um why can I talk today? Investments and stuff, right?
So it's been getting like this for a while. And so now I'm at the point like, well, shoot, maybe everybody, who still got family, we all need to get together with our families, get like one big house, and save up our money so we can do some things. Because, this going off on your own by yourself, I mean, unless you're already financially well off and set and whatever, I don't really, you know, because
My
people are like,
mom's been saying that to us for years, but we never did that. What you just said, like get a bit, put all our money in,
mm,
and hi, somebody just commented. Hi, I did a paper on this. There's a term working poor. Yes, yo, oh my gosh, yes. Can you see the comment too, or no, Lanee?
girl, yes.
That's yeah. I'm chime
Yes,
in with us because
yes,
like,
yes. Working poor.
and it's been like this for I don't know how long, probably as long as I've lived. Because I think I didn't do a paper on this, but I feel like I know in the 80s somewhere, and I'm showing my age, but in the 80s, um, it was like a big fluctuation with stuff. Just like in 2000, like soon as 2000 hit, there was some more stuff from what I remember hearing. I could be wrong with the
But
date.
it's always something. It's always
Mhm.
something. Like I just remember, if you're a regular average person just working a regular job, you are not gonna be wealthy. You're
No,
not gonna be wealthy. And I
no.
keep saying, oh, you're gonna save up your 401k and your savings and all that. Girl, it could be something that happens in this government, in this economy, that could just
I
completely
know.
destroy that
Exactly.
401k. So it's just really about not just working hard, but working smart too. Like really working smart. Like
Yeah.
where are you putting your money? Where are you putting your energy into? Where are you putting your resources? Because me, I spent years in my 20s just researching how, I can make the income I want to make. Like I always knew I wanted to go into business for myself, but I didn't know where in the market I fit. And I spent years figuring
Same
that out.
here. Hmm.
So, it's just 'cause everybody was working. By the time I got old enough to really ask these questions, I didn't really know what to do, you know? So, I was just supposed to be like this artist. And I remember I told you that when we're pursuing these degrees in art or whatever, like how I was doing, they don't prepare you for business because as an artist,
No.
you really are an entrepreneur. You're not an employee. You are not employee material if you go and you sign up to have an arts and humanities degree and you want to be an artist. You want to be a working artist. Unless you're like working for Marvel or DC or whatever, whoever the networks that do animation, all that. If you're like a sequential artist or a
Hmm.
visual artist, it's you're not an employee. You're not going to be employee material like that.
Yeah,
You're a natural
they
creator.
really need to, like, that's the best place to like help people learn how to make a business is with artists, like, because majority like of us just want to create, and they just don't do that. Bubbles come through. What did you say? All the smart business owners started working for big businesses instead. I hope that will switch over soon. Schools really don't teach us to be independent. Nope, they don't. They kind of teach us to be codependent almost, like,
What time to get up? What time to be ready? We're gonna come pick you up. We're gonna come drop you off. What time to eat? Where to sit? Be quiet. Listen.
yeah. Because
Girl,
then when it's time for you to think for yourself, it's kind of like, what do I do? Like, I'm not sure what I do. Like,
quiet time.
yeah,
you know,
like you were just saying to working smart, right? But working smart also should give you time to actually experience some type of life, because like if we're always constantly working, it's just
it
a
should get
part of an
open.
experience within us, right? Like we need to experience life some so we can get to know who we are
Right,
without all those accolades. Like, like that doesn't make us who we truly are on the inside. And
right,
I feel like artists always have a struggle with that too because, you know, that's our creative expression. That's our creative expression from our soul. And a lot of people are like, what? Like, it's,
yeah. And then they want you to go to these expensive art schools, and it's like, what? You want me? And it's very competitive. The art world is very competitive by itself, and they know this.
you know
So it's
why? Because the art schools, especially expensive ones,
mhm.
they try to tell you, like, this is what the greats did. And like, no,
Great.
like the
Woo.
greats, and it's like they have us teaching and learning. I mean, they're teaching and we're learning about the greats that were called that, like, in their time. But like every artist honestly had a struggle. Like, and nobody really teaches us that in art, at least not in my arts. I went to art schools and they didn't teach us none of that stuff. It was like a little small little thing, and then it was like, but they made it big, and it's like, why are you trying to measure me up here? Like, I'm not them. Like, they don't allow you to be free, and that's what art and creativity is. It flows. Like, they don't allow you to be yourself. Usually
Right.
they
They
don't.
teach
Not the
you
ones I went to.
Yeah, they teach you from a European, I feel like a European or
I think so
Eurocentric
too.
standpoint of view, which is fine. I mean, if you want to get the European history of art, but for me, art history, when I was looking and I was studying art history, it was all about the Baroque period or the
Yes,
Gothic period, or
yes.
which is great and all, but that stuff was boring to me. It was very boring and very unattractive, and I was learning about all these different artists like Monet and Van Gogh and but they don't really get into in depth like the artists. Like they don't really, they just
No.
don't really talk about what was going on in the artist, and everything is very generalized information.
Yes. Yes.
And
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to
I
say.
want
It
to do
is.
hands-on stuff. Like I wanted to get my hands dirty because I like working with my hands, as you know.
Me
But
too.
it's just, it was turning me off from the whole art thing. And I think that's why I left it because I was just like, this cannot be what art is. Like, where are the internships? Where are the hookups? Like, where, like,
For real, for real. I
it's just,
totally get you. I was thinking the same thing. I just
yeah,
was like, I don't know. Like it felt good when I graduated, but it just was like I constantly was thinking like, is all this really worth it? Like, am I supposed to like I need to
yeah,
understand like because I kind of felt like I was being forced to do something that my heart didn't truly desire, and let me see, what did Bubble say? So true. All the greats I researched and learned as an apprentice. Yes. And you know what's crazy? They don't even have apprenticeships anymore. Not in when I went to school, which
right.
doesn't make sense. Like then they were only great when they died. Exact. Oh my God, I kept saying that to people. It's like look at me getting all hyped. But it's like, do I have to die before I'm going to be maybe noticed? Yes. No, thank you. And like you were saying too, Lanee, like the way that they describe those people's life, I just don't feel we're accurate because a lot of artists were on the street learning about life because that inspired them. Like art is life, honestly. Like if you really think about it, like it's
Yeah.
like
Um,
nature is so beautiful. Like
Yeah, and then when we were studying Da Vinci and they were looking at his paintings, they don't really go into depth about how Da Vinci used like geometry or mathematics to like, so because the rumor is that he put like secret codes in his paintings or whatever.
I
So
heard of that.
and me, I love studying the occult. Like I love learning about the mysteries and all that. So I would have really been interested in learning about that aspect of Da Vinci. Not just as him as an artist, but why did he do certain things the way he did? But it's just very broad stroke, very general. And then when I was taking art classes and he would assign us things, we would do these assignments, we would do them, and then we would critique. I can't say anything today. We would do these
Me
critiques on
neither.
our works,
Hmm.
and it was just like, okay, cool. So next assignment, but really, I thought that I was going to spend all that money and all that time finding my own unique style as an artist, and
Me too.
I never
Me
got that.
too.
I was just copying what was already done. And then we sat around in a circle and we talked about it, and then we moved on to the next assignment.
I always felt like I remember saying that I'm like I don't really have a style. Like people would have like just a lot of people did have their own like unique little signature style of drawing or something and I never had that. And it just was like, hello, can somebody help me cultivate this? But it just seemed like nobody could. But maybe because I needed to find myself and understand myself, I guess. I don't know.
Right,
I
right,
don't know.
right. And that's where we go back to spirituality. We have to find ourselves because it's through finding ourselves that we find out what it is that we're here to give to the world. Because, as light workers, we're here to be of service, right? But
Hmm.
everybody has their own unique gift to serve people with. We just
They
have to
do.
find out what that is.
They
And
do.
that is not easy. It's
No, it's
not
not
easy.
easy because it's a process. Like it's just a process, just like life is a process. Everything is a process, and you have to process it within your own self to really get to know yourself. And like you can't really just kind of like get something and then like serve. Like you know what I mean? Like that's kind of like when you try to study something like overnight and then like you try to present it, like a lot of times it doesn't really flow the best way. But if you kind of like build that craft, then you kind of start understanding like, oh, okay, like, yeah, this doesn't work, that does, blah blah. And then you start like giving it out more, and it's just a process. It's just a process.
Yeah, it is. It's a long process. Long process. For me, it's been a long process. It's still a process.
Man. It is. It's still a process for me too. And it definitely has been a long process for me as well.
Like
Like
I'm
for
like,
real.
like I'm ready for. I used to say I'm ready for this part of my life to be over with. Like, come on, because it feels like you're not really in control of what's happening to you. You're just like in the passenger seat, just being driven by somebody else.
I
I'm
know.
like, I'm so ready to hop out this car. I don't even care. Like, I'm ready to get about this car, start living my life. But
But
it
I
was
don't know for you, like when the person stopped driving the car and I was left in a passenger seat and I was like, do I have to drive this car now? I was like, what do I do? Where do I go? you know?
exactly,
I mean, that's
exactly.
kind of like the term spirit take the wheel, like in a way,
Yes,
you
yes.
know?
Take the wheel, and that's literally where we are right now. We are,
Mhm.
especially 2020. Like, spirit, take the wheel, okay?
For
Because we
real.
don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I can do as much as I know how to do, but the rest I leave up to intuition and spirit to decide for me because I don't know what.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Girl, because all this could end tomorrow, and then where will we
I know.
be?
I know. I feel like I'm at this point where like creativity is a part of my self care and it just helps me grow and express what I need. And at the end of the day, like you said, if tomorrow wasn't tomorrow anymore, like I think it would satisfy me that I can make I'm making myself happy, finding peace and joy, you know, like. Do you ever feel that art school might have led you closer into your spiritual path at all? Who is Bubbles? I love you interacting with us, Bubbles. What answer that question, Lanee?
Did art? I would
You
say
said did
yes.
art school lead you to like a closer? I mean, I wouldn't think art school, but
I
with
think
art
not
did.
necessarily the school part, but like the artist in me, because I didn't learn what I'm doing now until after school. But it was art related, so now it's just like, okay, me combining what I can do with my hands and my own personal spiritual beliefs or journey,
Mm,
combining all of that. So I would say yes. I would say definitely.
yeah, like it's so funny how our stories are similar though, Lanee. Because like right after school, I literally felt like the journey started becoming more apparent that I was on like a spiritual journey.
Hmm.
Like, and it was like incidents after art school that kind of led me like, And it would kind of make me reflect too, because the whole time with my art, I mean, with the schooling, especially with college days, it was like I felt like the determination and the perseverance had to kick up. Because honestly, a lot of times I'm like, I don't want to do this shit. Like, I don't want to do school. Like, what is the point? Like, and then when I finally met my goal, then I'm like, that's what it feels like to me to go, okay, let's do this again. But it just didn't work out that way. And
No.
yeah, it
Yeah,
didn't.
maybe you just were meant for something greater. Like that's how I remember I was telling you, like how some people can just do the mile. They can graduate high school, go to college, find
Mhm.
everything, get married, get a job, and then bam, you know. But for me, nah, this no, that's too easy. Let's drag her through some coal, some shards of glass, some molten
Yeah,
lava, you
exactly.
know, push me off a cliff, just stuff like that and see how I come up. And that's really what the spiritual journey has been like for me. Like it's just not always about sunshine and rainbows. It really is about persevering and really just accepting that your path is different from the average person. Now
Yeah.
embrace it
Yeah.
and, figure this out. You gotta figure this out. And the thing about being of service to other people is you have to figure out how you're gonna be of service to other people. Nobody can tell you how to be of service to other people.
No.
And that's what school does. School tells you, oh, do this, do that, do this, do this. So you can get this and get this and do that. But that's not as simple as they make it. Because like you said, when you had your degree and you went to apply to these jobs, they was like, like, you know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah, they definitely did. Bubbles just said the road less traveled. And you know what? It is about finding, like you said, just like creativity. Can't nobody really tell you how to be creative. That's something you have to find within yourself. And
Mhm.
that's almost like an internal road that you're traveling to find like your true authentic self in a way, you know? And you can't. It just doesn't happen. I think we were like almost like fighting, like you said, because some people just do have like it seems like this perfect life because it's like perfect, I guess, in society's eyes. But like the road less traveled is not really with society's roads, like so I don't know. It is it's very interesting.
Black sheep, the black sheep thing. That's
Yep.
what it's about. Being
Yep.
the black sheep. All the white sheep getting herded by the shepherd. They're good. They're grazing over there. They're getting, sheared. They're getting treated right. The black sheep is over here just wondering, like, why? Where? Do y'all
Getting
even know
lost.
where we are? So it's really about discovery. Because trust me, I've had those days where I wish so badly that I could just be a regular person, where I could just have been the person who could have gotten through college without losing their ish
Yeah.
and got the
Yeah.
job I wanted and got married and had kids and I'm be good. But that's not
Yep.
why I'm here. So I've accepted that and I've
Yeah.
learned to listen to my intuition more and have that be my
Yeah, absolutely. Hands down. Like, thank you for
guide.
saying that because that's true. Like, me really connecting with my intuition has been a big thing about trust. And I feel like that's where the flow comes in when you tap into your intuition is really like, trusting yourself, most importantly, for sure.
Right. Trusting yourself. And that's the biggest thing. Why is learning how to trust yourself so hard?
Maybe that
It's
should be our next episode. I don't know. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I know already, but it's really like, you're just so used to having people tell you what to do, you know? Being
Hmm.
shepherded, being herded, So it's just, that's what it is. And thinking for yourself is not as easy as it's supposed to be anymore because you're so programmed to think certain ways about things.
Yeah. Hmm.
So we're like on this side, discovering what's, beyond the horizon. And everybody's still over there, living their life accordingly.
Absolutely. I don't know. I'm excited for what's ahead of this on this road. What's that? Like, I'm at a certain destination, but I'm still learning to enjoy the journey. Definitely.
Right. We have to enjoy it too. Because it's not
Bubble
all about
said, "Can we make that video?" What did I just say that was going to be the next episode? I'm sorry, Bubble. I think
you
it was
have to
about
like
trusting
me.
ourselves, right? The journey of
Right.
learning to trust yourself.
Learn to trust yourself. Learn to trust yourself. Learn to not ignore your gut,
Hmm.
basically.
That could actually be Bubbles because like I know I'm sure you got a lot to say about that, Lanee, because I know I do. You can see it. I love how
Yeah.
you can see it on your end too, because I wasn't sure if you could see that. Like Bubbles, thank you for coming through because you're really becoming a part of our journey on Ep.2 because we're actually learning the process of this whole two-way live video thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's, girl, we might be, I just feel like it might be different. This year might end completely different than how we're thinking it might end. But we have in order to get through it, we have to enjoy the journey too.
We do.
Hmm.
We definitely do. And I'm hopeful for this journey and this new year and like this new wave and all that stuff. Yes,
Right.
I'm glad you can help too. I don't know when you said that, I don't know why Bubbles is like I think I know you and I don't know you. Like who are you, Bubbles? Do I know you in real life?
Hope said
Let me stop.
glasses.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this seems like our time. Like, do you want to say anything else before we like I guess as we're wrapping it up? I don't know.
Any do I have any closing remarks?
Yeah, that's the word. That's the word that I'm trying
Closing
to
remarks.
say.
Peace, love, and hair grease. Girl, that's it. Like, listen, I don't. Nah, do you have any closing remarks? Anything else you'd like to have?
No,
Anything
I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful for this experience. Like I'm starting to see that everything really is an experience for me and I'm just happy to do this and do things that I can enjoy doing, you know. Bubble said that I do know them. Hmm. Well, anyway, I'm really happy that Bubbles joined us today. I'm happy that me and you, Lanee, were able to do this. And yeah, we're going to do another episode next week, right? We do it every Tuesday.
every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yep. So I don't know. I don't have anything else really to say, but I like what I always like to say. Until next time, I'm outie. Peace, y'all. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Bye, y'all.